Good evening, everyone, and welcome to an OCAA matchup tonight of the George Brown Huskies taking on the Centennial Colts at home. I'm joined here by Lucas Acuna.
It's been a great evening, Mac. I have to say the game earlier today between the women's teams was a classic. George Brown took it in 4 sets after losing the first set. If this game is anything like that one, we're in for a treat, Mac.
Yeah, Lucas, it was just a great game between the women's volleyball teams. Pretty close one, and then the George Brown Huskies took it in the 3rd set. Now, big matchup tonight against the Centennial Colts, who are sitting 3-3 on the season, 5 games played. And your George Brown Huskies sitting at 1-3 on the season, looking to make an impact game tonight to advance themselves in the standings. Now, what do you think we're going to have to see tonight, Lucas, for George Brown to achieve this win against a top-tier club in the OCAA?
I think it's very similar to what we saw in the women's game. George Brown are at home. They're a phenomenal team, and they can ride the energy of this crowd. I believe we saw a little bit of that during the women's game, where they made a run after that first set that they had lost in the 3 straight sets. I believe they can get the crowd into it and ride that energy. They'll be just fine, Mac.
Yeah, I totally agree, Lucas. The atmosphere here at George Brown in downtown Toronto is just electric. You see the fans have, certain ways to make some noise and get the other team off their game. So
Absolutely.
We'll see what happens tonight. Centennial Colts will look to start this one off with the serve with number 3, Ryan Doe, starting it off for us here. And the serve is in. Hey, excuse me, guys. Do you mind if you could... Thank you. Point there for the George Brown Huskies. Now up to serve number 6, Rowan Valensky.
Great defense there to get that point.
Serve is in. And that is out of bounds. Point Centennial. Up to serve here, number 7, Ruslan Diwar. Serve is up. And that is corralled, lifted up. Oh, what a save there. And it hits the net. That is a point for the Centennial Colts.
Lively start so far, Mac.
Yeah, great atmosphere here. Number 7 up the serve. Serve is up and in. Spike and out of bounds. George Brown ball.
The rallies have been quite short here early on.
Yo, number 9.
Looks like it'll be a point here for the George Brown Huskies. 3-2, as we have some technical difficulties. Matt Conley will be just back with me in a moment.
And we're right back at it here with the George Brown serve, and it is in. Corralled by number 14. Popped up, spiked down, stopped by number 3. Attempted block there by George Brown, but it went out of bounds, tipped out of bounds. We have a Centennial serve coming up here.
We haven't seen many long rallies here at the beginning, Mac. It's been really short points. The power of both teams really on full display here.
Serve is up and in, and is set. Tipped in, corralled by the Colts. And a tip off the head. That is a George Brown point. George Brown up to serve here, number 14, Yasserov Speditsky, 6'8", hailing from Vaughan, Ontario. Serve is in. And that is out of bounds. Point, Centennial.
That ball was rifled over here
Yeah,
into
that was right close to our head there.
Into our commentary booth here, Mac. We're right into the action early on here.
Now number 10, Jordan Haggerty is up to serve. Serve is up. And that will be point George Brown as it went out of bounds.
That was about as close as a serve can get.
Now number 17 for George Brown, Joseph Lee, coming out of North York, Ontario, is up for the serve. Serve is up. Blocked by the Colts, set and rallied. Oh, and it's still playing out here.
Great save there.
Set up and spike. Oh, went for a nasty tip there, but it looked like it tipped off one of the George Brown players, Lucas.
It looks like it. I'm not sure about the call. George Brown seems to have some comments about it as well, but scores at 5-5 now, one way or another.
Yeah, I really feel like both teams are just trying to fill each other out here, like you said, with these short spurts, but we'll see if we have a long rally here.
Absolutely.
Serve is in, and that hits the net.
Short.
Did not look like he got a full piece of it there. George Brown point.
It's been a chaotic start so far, Matt.
It sure has. And now number 15, Nick Foby, is up from Pickering, Ontario. Serve is in. And that'll be blocked by Centennial. Oh, and a cheeky little chip shot there, but it is out of bounds. George Brown point.
The elevation that Nick Foby gets on those serves is such a powerful weapon for George Brown.
Serve is set. And that will be inbounds. Absolute sniper, Nick Foby.
Oh, hold on there. I think they're giving it to Centennial. I believe they did, Mac. I believe they gave the point to Centennial. 7-6. That was a close one. I thought that was inbounds as well.
And the serve is in. Blocked by George. And set. Down for the spike. That is inbounds. George Brown Huskies point. Sitting at 8-6 here with the 2-point lead. And now we have number 2, Tyan Suzuki from Richmond, BC, up to serve. Set is up and in. Blocked by Centennial. Set up, in for the spike. And that is out of bounds. George Brown ball. Lucas, I have to say, some of the vertical abilities we are seeing tonight is insane.
Unbelievable. Even if the height isn't there, the vertical reach on these athletes is incredible.
Tyan Suzuki ready for the serve. That is blocked by Centennial and set. Spike. And that will be in, out of bounds. George Brown ball. And we have a Centennial timeout. 4-point lead for the Huskies here. Now, Lucas, after seeing, a couple points of play, what do you think are some key work-ons for some of the teams here?
I think given the frantic pace of this game, you really want to not give the other team too much to work with. Don't give them any points that they can easily capitalize on. If that means you're going to have to go through some long rallies, that means you're going to have to go through those long rallies. Really don't give them any easy points. Of course, the Colts are only down by 4, no reason to panic, but you want to snap that run before it gets out of hand.
I totally agree, Lucas. Now, it seems that some players are a bit antsy, just trying to feel each other out in this first set that we have here. But a lot of talent on display tonight.
Absolutely. I do have to say, Mac, whoever's in charge of the soundtrack in this arena are doing a great job. We were here just earlier for the women's game as well, and the music has done a great job of getting everyone in the crowd and all the players hyped up. It's been a treat here.
Certainly have a great mix. They got something for all. They got throwbacks. We even had some pop hits there.
Absolutely.
All singing along to some JB. And now we have number 2, Tyan Suzuki, up to serve. Serve is up. Set up, in for the spike, Centennial. Point Centennials, he comes down with that massive slam.
He rifled that one.
Number 3, Ryan Doe up to serve. Serve is up. A little floater there, corralled by George Brown.
Great recovery.
And a block at the net. Set up for the spike. Tip shot there as George Brown corrals it. Set for the spike, and that is a George Brown point. Number 14, Jarlos Fervitsky taking over. You know, with that 6'8" height and that verticality, I mean, you really can't do anything to stop this, Lucas,
Absolutely.
being at the net.
George
Number
Brown did
6, Rowan Valinsky is up for the serve. Set is in. Blocked by Centennial. Set. Corralled by George Brown. Up for the spike. You see Centennial corralling here. Up for the spike, and that is no good. George Brown point. As we see, I think number 10 fell here. We might have an injury on the court.
Let's hope he's okay. He seems to be in some discomfort.
It's like we have a lower body injury here on Centennial's side as we take a moment.
We hope everything's okay. It just seemed to be over there on near that left side where the official is standing.
It seems to be he's in a lot of pain here, so we'll just take a moment to get back and set for this first set here. Now, Lucas, even watching the game in these small moments, one name has really stuck out to me, and that's Yaroslav Servitsky, 6'8" from Vaughan, Ontario, taking game theory and programming at George Brown. Absolutely taking over already in the first set here.
Absolutely. Someone with that amount of height, that amount of reach, the presence he can have on a game can be unmatched. He, early on in this, as you mentioned, early on in this set, he's certainly shown his abilities. He'll look to continue his play as the game goes on. As the pause for the injury to the Colts player seems to be ongoing. We hope he's okay.
And now George Brown here looking to get their second win of the season after starting a 3-game skid. Trying to gain some momentum here.
Absolutely.
I mean, the crowd's definitely getting into it. This injury has kind of slowed down the pace here. But furthermore, the George Brown Huskies are looking in shape.
Absolutely. You know, an early season start where you lose the first couple of games can really do some damage to you. It can derail the team's momentum, but George Brown seems to be like they've rebounded pretty well as the Colts number 10 is helped off the court there. I believe it's Michael Karapi. Seems to be in some pain. We hope he's okay as he's assisted off the court here.
– Quick OCAA men's volleyball standings update as we have Seneca Algonquin and Candor in the top 3 seeding of the standings. Seneca with a record of 5-0 sit at the tops of the OCAA men's standings. With the George Brown win, they will be able to ascend this little slump that they're in. They're sitting at 3rd last in the league right now, but they are not out of it in the slightest, with Fleming sitting at 6th in the league with a 2-3 record on the season. So definitely a big game here for the Huskies as number 6, Rowan Valencia, is up for serve. Serve is up and in. Blocked by Centennial, but it hits the mesh as we have a Huskies point and a 6-point lead in the first set here.
Huskies are pulling away a little bit here in this set, nearly doubling the score on the Colts.
Vizansi up to serve, and the serve is in. Oh, pardon me, the serve hits the mesh as we have a Centennial point.
And this theme seems to be continuing here, Mac. Not a lot of long rallies. I believe we've seen 1 or 2 here in the first set. It's been quick bursts of action here.
Serve is up and in. And that is out for Centennial as we have yet another Huskies point. Up to serve here for the Huskies, number 12, Tyrese Brooms, 6'6" from Markham, Ontario. And the serve is up and in. Blocked by Centennial, set for the spike, and we have a block by George Brown. Set. Oh, and that looks like we're gonna have a George Brown point here as Centennial reached over the nets. Brooms up here to serve.
And again, Mac, fast-paced action here with these sets lasting.
Not many rallies.
Lasting just a couple seconds. It's been.
Serve is in and set by Centennial for the spike. Blocked by George Brown. Number 14 goes for the spike, but it is blocked. Blocked by Centennial and set. Corralled by number 3. Spike down, and that is into the rafters. Centennial point.
Great defense at the net there by Centennial, Mac.
Yeah. A lot of power coming from these spikes here as number 16 for the Centennial Colts is up for the serve. Serve is up and in. Blocked by George Brown and corralled for the fake spike tip. A little of a cheeky move there as he sets it. George Brown corrals the ball, works it in for the spike. And that is into the rafters. George Brown point as we have a score of 16-9 here in the first set. Number 14 for George Brown. Yaroslav Servitsky up for set as he has been dominating this game. Set is up and in. Absolute power coming from Verditsky. Point Huskies as we have a 17-9 score.
Yeah, Mac, and as we touched about earlier, the 0-3 start that the George Brown Huskies had last week out, they won in 3 straight sets against St. Lawrence, so maybe this is a sign of things to come for them.
Yeah, Lucas, right now, they're looking very structured, and it looks like they have brought the energy in this first set as we now have an 8-point lead for your George Brown Huskies. It's funny, Lucas, as somebody who doesn't watch too much volleyball, I have to say that athleticism these players are showing is just unreal.
Absolutely. We see some incredible athletes. Just looking over here at the numbers here, George Brown's got 6'8", 6'5", 6'1", 6'6". Got some height there. The power, the elevation these athletes create is unbelievable.
Yeah, we sure do. We got nothing shy of a bit of a height competition on the George Brown Huskies here as we have many players over 6'6".
And even the players who are, under 6 feet, the elevation, the power they can generate is unbelievable.
100% as we have a timeout coming to an end here for Centennial, hoping to get back on track as the George Brown Huskies have an 8-point lead in this first half here. Serve coming in now for the George Brown Huskies. Sedvitsky in for the serve. And it hits the mesh. No good. Point Centennial. Coming up the serve here for the Colts, we have number 11. And it seems he is not on our roster sheet here for the night. We will confirm who this is. And that is a point for the Colts. Oh, pardon me, point for the George Brown Huskies. Number 17, Joseph Lee up to serve. Serve is up and in. And that is good. Some power there by Joseph Lee, serving the ace for the George Brown Huskies. Score of 19-10. Lee ready to serve. And that will be no good, out of bounds, point Centennial. We have Milan Zivanovic up to serve. And that serve is up and in, corralled by George Brown and set for the spike.
What a powerful spike there.
Point George Brown.
Nick Phobie, we mentioned it earlier on in our broadcast. What a talent he is. Huge weapon for George Brown as he grabs the point there.
Phobie getting ready to serve. As the serve is up and in, blocked by Centennial as they set it for the spike. Absolute power here coming from Centennial from number 11 with the spike. Point Centennial, the score of 20-12. 8-point lead, George Brown, as number 12, Nolan Tuck, is ready to serve. And the serve is good. Corralled by George Brown, set for the spike. And that will be out of bounds, George Brown.
That was a close one, Mac.
Point Centennial. Nolan Tuck here, ready to serve. Serve is up and in, that's good. Corralled by George Brown and set for the spike. Out of bounds, point Centennial. Now we see Centennial coming along here, digging themselves out of that little hole they found themselves in the first set here.
Absolutely. George Brown have, it's been a number of plays there where the set's been well, but just too much on the spike there. That was perfect, however.
Absolutely drawn down by number 14.
What a hit.
Yaroslav Sverdvitsky. What a name. Hard to pronounce, might I say. Up for the serve, number 2. Serve is up and in. Blocked by Centennial, up for the spike, and that will be blocked by George Brown.
Great defense. Great defense.
Number 12, Tyrese Brooms coming in for the block there, showing his verticality and athleticism.
He's played well.
Number 2, Tyen Suzuki up to serve. Serve is up, and it is in, blocked by Centennial for the set. Spike to number 11, showing some power, corralled by George Brown, and that is up and over. Bumped by Centennial for the set, and smacked down. But
great defense again.
Blocked again by Tyrese Brooms.
That's back-to-back plays.
Absolutely dominating this game in the first set here.
Huskies are 2 points away from taking this first set, Mac.
Number 2, Tyen Suzuki for his third serve of the game. And that is up and in. Corralled by Centennial for the set, up for the spike. And that will be no good, out of bounds. Huskies point. The score of 24-14, a 10-point lead as the Huskies are seemingly taking over this matchup this Saturday night. Tyen Suzuki up for his fourth serve, and it is up and in. Corralled by Centennial, looking to be out of bounds, and that will be a Huskies point as they take this set, 25-14.
Wow, what an eventful first set, Mac. It didn't take long. Most rallies weren't rallies at all.
No, Lucas, they must be under 20 seconds each. Compared to the women's game, we found that when would the rallies end? But in this one, it seems to be short spurts.
It's been fast-paced action, absolutely, Mac. If the rest of the sets go the way of the first, we're in for an absolute treat here.
And one name tonight has been absolutely screaming off the roster sheet as Tyrese Brooms has been dominating the mesh tonight with showing out for multiple blocks as the Huskies take over this one.
That 6'6" frame, Mac, that presence at the net, how effective it can be, what a weapon it is for George Brown. Early on in this game, he's made the difference.
Yeah, Lucas, might I say, some could absolutely wish for that athletic ability. Me, myself, standing at a solid 6 foot 150. I do not think I'm meant to be at the front mesh there. And I also wanted to add in for this broadcast, this is myself and Lucas Acuna's inaugural broadcast for the year. We are starting off as first-year students at the College of Sports Media in downtown Toronto. Quick shout-out to the schools and professors there.
Absolutely, and what a treat to be having a George Brown game as our first game at home. What an honor it is. The energy is absolutely electric. The talent on display has been unbelievable. It's been a treat, Mac.
I 100% agree, especially with arriving to this game with the gym being on the 5th floor. It's a bit of a surprise. You walk out of the gym to a pretty fantastic view of downtown Toronto.
Absolutely.
As we get ourselves set here for the second set in tonight's matchup, George Brown seems to be quite relaxed at the bench here as they control the lead, as Centennial seems to be quite focused in with their coach giving them the game plan for set 2. Once again, I'm Matt Connolly here, joined by Lucas Acuna for tonight's matchup of the George Brown Huskies taking on Centennial Colts at home here at George Brown's campus in downtown Toronto. Quite the matchup we've seen so far.
It's been a treat. George Brown dominated in the first set. I believe we touched on it that Tyrese Brooms was phenomenal. His net presence, the defense, just great. We'll see if George Brown can take the second set as well. They ended the first set on a bit of a tear. So, of course, it is a best of 5. Whoever takes 3 sets first wins it. It's been a great match so far, Mac.
Yeah, terrific matchup, and lots of talent on display tonight, as we talked about. Tyrese Brooms coming out, really showing his stuff, and Yaroslav Sturvitsky from Vaughan, Ontario, dominating this game as number 6, Rowan Valenci, is up for the serve, and that will be no good as it hits the mesh. Point Centennial.
Do want to mention that number 10 for the Colts, Michael Karapi, came off with appeared to be some sort of knee injury. We wish him the best.
And now the Colts are ready to serve, as that is number 3, Ryan Doe. George Brown corrals for the tip shot, corralled by Centennial. Up for the spike. And this is up for the set. George Brown for the spike down, as that is in.
Great play.
Number 17, Joseph Lee, all the way from North York, coming down with the slam.
Great play.
And number 13, Smith, is up for the serve. Hometown Toronto, Ontario. Serve is up and in, as Centennial bumps it and sets it for the fake spike, but seemed, Lucas, that they had a miscommunication there for the spike down, as number 16.
Or perhaps was it the presence of Tyrese Brooms again?
Yeah, it might
over
be.
there by the net.
Scared him at the net. As number 13, Smith, goes in for the serve, and that is inbounds for the ace.
Smith there with a powerful serve. George Brown has started this second period like they ended the first, on top.
Smith ready for the serve, as it is up and it is in. Centennial with the set, and that is in. Spike down, Centennial. Yo, 7. And number 7 here for the Centennial Colts, Ruslan Delwar, up for the serve, and that is no good, as it is a George Brown point. It is out of bounds.
The theme continues. Not a lot of long rallies here.
Yaroslav Svidvitsky up to serve. As it is up and in. Seems to be out of bounds there, as he couldn't quite pick the corner. Point Centennial, as we have a 4-3 score here in the second set.
7 points scored in the blink of an eye, Mac.
Centennial set here for the serve, and it is in. Blocked by George Brown for the set, and spiked down.
Powerful spike.
Absolutely taking over. Yaroslav Savitsky
Brilliant.
taking over this one with a spike down. Number 17, Joseph Lee, up for the serve. as it is up and in, blocked by Centennial, set for the spike. And it seems Lucas, number 12, couldn't get the height there as he kind of chokes it into the net, and we have a Centennial timeout.
I think that's a good call, Mac. You don't want this set to get away from you. It's 6-3, still within arm's reach, but get everyone on the same page and get back into this second set.
Yeah, Lucas, it really looks like the Huskies are taking over here. Centennial taking the timeout to corral their roster. Kind of get some pose here as the second set is freshly kicked off. You know, one name I haven't mentioned as much is Joseph Lee from North York, Ontario, studying business administration and finance. So,
absolutely,
a bit of brains on this kid as well, other than the athletic ability, but his serving has been on point tonight.
Absolutely. I believe George Brown have so many weapons. They have the height, they have the serving ability, the net protection, and they're executing on all cylinders here. There's a reason they won the first set, and they're up by 3 here in this second set.
100%, Lucas, and you know, even seeing these first 2 sets here, it really does not look like George Brown is a 1-3 team on the year. With all this talent, you would think they're really finally finding their stride as number 17, Joseph Lee, is up for the serve.
Absolutely.
Some heat there, and oh, spiked down by number 6. Ruslan Valenci from Bradford, Ontario, with the spike down.
You know, sometimes early season records can be a bit deceiving. Haven't played a lot of games, so if you make a few mistakes in a couple of those games, you find yourself at a 1-3 record. But again, their last game winning in 3 straight sets, so maybe it's a sign of things to come.
100% agree. As
great save.
Oh, they corralled the ball here and set it up, but it looks like
touch the net there.
One of the George Brown players. 7-4 Huskies as number 11 for Centennial gets ready to serve here. As up and in, corralled by George Brown for the set. Absolute spike down by number 12. Tyrese Brooms taking over.
Who else?
I gotta say, Lucas, I've only been here for a half an hour. I'm already a fan.
Dominating offensively and defensively.
Tyrese Brooms up to serve here. Absolutely taking over this one with an 8-4 score for the Huskies. Serve is up and in. Corralled by Centennial, but it gets off the wrist and out of bounds. Point Huskies.
How many points has Tyrese Brooms won for George Brown here? Unbelievable.
Tyrese Brooms ready for the serve as it is up. Corralled and set by Centennial for the spike. Little tip shot. Oh!
Great save.
What a stop by 17, Joseph Lee. But it seems like we have one too many hits here as Centennial gets the point. 9-5 score, pardon me, we have.
Every rally here lasting just a couple seconds. It's non-stop action.
Corralled by George Brown here. Joseph Lee with the set. Spiked down by number 14 and set by Centennial with the jam. Out of bounds. Centennial ball.
Great hustle there from George Brown to try and save that point. Just a bit too far out. Scores 9-6. Both teams still in it.
Man, Lucas, some of the power here coming down with these spikes.
Absolutely. There's a reason these sets, or these rallies rather, aren't lasting very long. So much power generated on these spikes.
Set by George Brown for the smackdown, but it will be no good as it hits the mesh. Number 13 on George Brown here. And we have a Centennial serve as he gets it up and over as is set by George Brown with the tip by Centennial. Oh, reaching to grab it.
Great
and that
play.
is over. What a save! Point Huskies.
What a
as he
sequence.
absolutely dives out of his way to keep his team alive in this one.
What a sequence. It's been non-stop action here, Mac. What a treat it's been to watch this one.
Number 2. Caitlin McFong from Markham, Ontario. I did see that number 9. I saw that. Unreal. Caitlin McFung from Markham, Ontario.
I gotta say, the George Brown players are absolutely buzzing after that play. That was unbelievable.
Tons of energy here on the sidelines from George Brown.
The roof nearly came off this place as it looks like some of the Centennial Colts players are having a discussion with the official.
Caitlin McFun from Markham, Ontario, studying carpentry and renovation, pardon me.
That's a good thing because, again, the roof almost came off this place.
All right, Fung with the serve, and it is up and over, corralled by Centennial, and set for the smackdown, blocked by George Brown. Set for Centennial for number 2 for the second try, but it is blocked by George Brown as they take this one over.
Nearly kept it in there.
Number 14, Yaroslav Stravitsky. Spike down, George Brown. Corralled by Centennial, set up, looking for a second attempt for the spike, and that is blocked. But he could not get another set on it as Centennial takes the point. We have a 10-9 score here.
I think the score here in this set definitely reflects what we've been seeing here. It's a close game.
Set by George Brown.
Great
with
defense.
The smackdown. Great D, but his hands came over top of the net.
Huskies point.
George Brown. Getting ready for another serve here as Valenci is up to serve. Serve is in and blocked by Centennial.
Great defense.
Centennial with the tip down, but George Brown seems to corral here with the absolute spike. Number 17! Oh my gosh!
Unbelievable.
The crowd is loving this one.
Unbelievable.
As number 17, Joseph Lee, came in with a smackdown. Valenci up to serve. Serve is up and in. Blocked by Centennial, set at the net for the spike down. Point Centennial for number 16.
The energy in this arena, if it's coming through on the broadcast, it is absolutely electric.
This is unreal. Some of the athletic ability we're seeing tonight, just unreal.
Can hardly catch your breath with how fast these rallies are going by.
100% agree. 12-10 score here in the second set as number 3 for Centennial, Ryan Doe, is up to serve. Doe up for the serve, and that is up and in, a little floater to number 6, Valenci. Set for the smackdown, hits the net, Centennial corrals. Number 7, the absolute jam! And points, Centennial.
I believe that was Delaware there.
12-11 score here in the second set. Game 1 to George Brown as Ryan Doe gets ready for the serve as it's up and over for the set. Set at the net for George Brown. Corralled by Centennial. Up for the spike down, and that is no good, out of bounds. George Brown Huskies point. 13-11 here. Number 13 up for the serve here. Smith for the serve. It is good. Up and in, corralled by Centennial. Up for the set, but that will be no good. Out of bounds. Point, George Brown. Smith ready for the serve. Serve is up and out of bounds. A bit too much on that one for Smith as the Centennial Colts, you get an easy point as number 7, Ruslar Delwar, up for serve. Serve is up and in for the set at the tip shot. George Brown. Centennial corrals it with the smackdown. Seems like
Point Centennial.
Point Centennial here.
14-13.
as number 7, Ruslan Delwar up to serve. 14-13 in a close one here in the second set as the ball is served over with some power. George Brown sets for the smackdown, blocked by Centennial. Set, smackdown, corralled by Centennial, up for the George Brown.
Great save.
Tip shot Centennial. In for the smackdown, George Brown, and a
Great
block
defense
on George Brown as Centennial gets the point.
Great defense there.
(14-14) in the second set here on this electric Saturday night at George Brown College in downtown Toronto as Delwar gets ready for the serve and is up and over. It's no good as it hits the mesh. 15-14 Huskies.
You have to say the score reflects what we've seen so far. Neither team really taking too big of a lead here and can really go either way in this second set.
Yaroslav Zvitsky up for the serve. Serve is up and in, and that is dug by Centennials for the set. Smackdown out of bounds, point Huskies as they gain this 2-point lead with a spike out of bounds by the Centennial Colts. Yaroslav Zvitsky up for the serve yet again as he prepares himself. As he gets it up and over with some power, dug there by Centennial for the set, and smackdown.
Great save.
Blocked by George Brown with a tip shot, and that will be inbounds for the 3-point lead for the Huskies.
Brilliant. It's those extra hustle plays that can make all the difference, and George Brown has had a number of those here in this second set.
Outside hitter for George Brown, putting in a little cheeky tip shot there as Yaroslav Zvitsky comes in for the serve. Dug by Centennial for the set, and that is tipped over by Centennial. Set by George Brown. Corralled by Centennial for the spike, and that will be out of bounds. Point George Brown.
That was a close one.
Yaroslav Zvitsky up for his fourth serve, and this will be a timeout Centennial. Trying to gain some poise after a Huskies 7-point run.
Gives us all a chance to catch our breath here. We'll be back with you all after this short break. We are back after that thankfully short intermission. We didn't have to wait too long to get back into the action.
I know the fans are definitely anticipating this end of the set here as we have an 18-14 score for the George Brown Huskies as Yaroslav Zvitsky gets ready for the serve. Serve is up and over. Dug by Centennial as they couldn't seem to corral it as it goes out of bounds.
Huskies point.
Easy point for the Huskies as Yaroslav Zvitsky is up for his fifth serve.
Just like that, the lead is 5. Feels like that happened in the blink of an eye. The Huskies really making the most out of these short rallies.
Zvitsky up for the serve. But it seems to be too much power on this one as it's out of bounds. Point Centennial. Number 16 for Centennial, Jewel Paul, up for the serve. And it is up and over, dug by George Brown for the set. An absolute smackdown here from 17, Joseph Lee.
Great play there.
Joseph Lee has really been showing his skill set tonight, contributing to many George Brown Huskies points as he gets ready to serve here.
The fake spike there from George Brown was a great play, perfectly executed.
Joseph Lee up for the serve, is up and over, dug by Centennial. Set for the spike down, and that will be blocked by George Brown, but out of bounds. Point Centennial as we have a 20-16 score. Substitution for George Brown as Tyan Suzuki comes out for Thomas Tucci, hailing from Burnaby, BC, studying general arts and science. Number 11, Trung Vong, in for the serve, and it is set by George Brown, blocked by Centennial for the second attempt. Spike down Valinsky, but he does a little chip shot there, dug by Centennial for the spike, blocked
Great
by
defense.
George Brown. Yet
Great
again,
defense.
Tyrese Brooms coming in for the block.
I believe they gave the point to Centennial there. I believe there was a net infraction.
Number 11, Trung Vaughn over the net, set by George Brown. Chip shot, dug by George Brown. Second attempt here, a little chip shot, dug by Centennial. Tyrese Brooms with the block, set by Buditsky, and tipped over, but it seems there is a net violation on Centennial, so we will have a point for the George Brown Huskies. And it is 21-17, looking to take this one in the second set.
Just 4 points away here from taking 2 straight sets.
Tyrese Brooms subbed out here for number 3, Matthew Law, as he comes in to take a crack at the serve. Wow, over the net with some power, but not good enough as it hits the mesh. Point Centennial. Close game we have here as the Huskies have a 3-point lead in the second set. As number 5, Milan Zanovakovic, is up for the serve. Serve is up, and it is good as it tips the mesh. Set by George Brown for the smackdown. Yaroslav Zedvitsky, yet again, with the smackdown.
Great play.
6'6" with a vertical jump like that. There's no stopping him.
The amount of power and the reach that George Brown has on their roster is very difficult to contend with.
22-18 as George Brown gets ready for the serve. Up and over. Dug by Centennial for the set, and he chips it over there as they re-corral it. Tip shot and corralled by George Brown. Centennial setting things up here for the smackdown, but it's a tip shot.
Great defense.
And blocked by number 13, but we have a violation. Centennial point 22-19 here as number 12, Nolan Tuck, gets ready to start this one off with the serve. Nolan Tuck up and over, dug by George Brown and set for the smackdown. Tip shot, corralled by Centennial for the set, opposite side, volley over, dug by George Brown for the tip shot.
Great play.
Yaroslav Savitsky. Who else could it be?
He's making his mark on the game for sure. I believe it's a. Looked like George Brown was going to call it, or
23-19 here.
Rather.
Is number 6 gets ready to serve. Rowan Valenci up and over, and it is good. Dug by Centennial for the set. Tip shot as George Brown tries to. And it seems that we have a tip shot by Centennial here on Zavitsky. 23-20.
Looks like this second set is going to go down to the wire here.
Huskies looking for that 2 points. Centennial serve, and it is
Short.
no good. Short of the net. As Ryan Doe serves that one. And number 13, Smith, up for the serve. Game point, up and over, dug by Centennial for the set. Smacked down and blocked by number 6, Valenci, up for the spike over. Set Centennial, blocked by George Brown, but that will be out of bounds as Tyrese Brooms gets the block there. 24 to 21.
How close was that one, Mac?
Inches away, Joe. Inches away. Number 7 for Centennial, Ruslan Delwar up for the serve. Up and over. Set by George Brown for the spike for Tyrese Brooms, but it seems to be corralled and bumped over Centennial. Here for the second try for the set, and
keeps it in.
Seems we have a net violation, and that will be the set as they take it 25 to 21. George Brown Huskies up 2 in this one.
And you have to say they've deserved it. Every facet of their game, they've perfected to a T here, and this 2-set lead will be something that they can look to take into the third, just 1 set away.
Yeah, Lucas, I really don't see a 1-3 team out here on the court tonight. Playing at home seems to have a good atmosphere behind this club here as they take the first 2 sets of this one.
Absolutely, and this early into the season, any bright moment, any win, anything you can hold on to can make all the difference.
Notable names to look out for on both sides tonight. Starting off with Centennial as Ruslan Delwar showing out for them and being a key player as well. Yaroslav Sudbitsky almost putting the team at his back at this point.
We've seen so many players here make their mark on this game. It's been a frantic 2 sets. Neither team really taking too strong of a foothold in this game, despite the fact that George Brown are up 2 sets. The Colts haven't played poorly. This 3rd set promises to be just as entertaining as the first 2. Who knows which way it'll go, Mac?
100%. Lots to look forward to in this 3rd set here between 2 very good matchups in the OCAA here as we get ready for Game 3 of this matchup between George Brown and Centennial. Coming at you soon.
As promised, we are back just seconds away from getting this 3rd set underway.
Lots to look forward to in this one with the 3rd set coming up as the George Brown Huskies hold a 2-set lead on the Centennial Colts here tonight.
And you have to wonder if the Colts do take this 3rd set. Of course, it's a long way away, but can they ride that momentum, Mac? If they do take that 3rd set, it's of course a long game. It does look like George Brown has the upper hand here, but things can change very quickly.
Totally agree, Lucas. Anything can happen in sports as, as they say, I'm a hockey player myself. The 2-0 lead is the worst lead in hockey. So I guess we'll have to wait and see here as we gear up for set 3 tonight.
It promises to be an entertaining one.
Number 12, Nolan Tuck up for the serve for the Centennial Colts here. Starting off set 3. Tuck up and over. Set by George Brown for the smackdown.
They pick up where they left off.
Sudbitsky.
Great spike there.
Nothing short but exceptional coming from Yaroslav tonight as he is. George Brown serve here, number 6, Rowan Valenci. Too much power on that one as it goes out of bounds. Centennial Colts point. Ryan Doe up to serve. Doe ready to serve, up and over, a little floater, corralled by George Brown. Set for...
Great play. Number 17 there, Joseph Lee.
2-1 Huskies with a little tip shot from number 17. Number 7, Declan Kernaran, up for the serve. Out of bounds, point Centennial. As Ruslan Delwar gets ready to serve. 2-2 game here in the third set. Delwar up and over, blocked by...
Kept in.
Set by Centennial here for number 11 with the spike, but is blocked by George Brown.
Great defense there.
Tip shot from George Brown, but it seems we have...
It's a George Brown point.
A George Brown point, sorry, I thought we had a net violation there. As number 14, Yaroslav Zidbitsky gets ready to serve.
Both teams playing great defense there on that rally.
Zidbitsky. Up and over as Centennial digs and sets up for the spike down. Absolute power here coming from Milan Zenonacevic with the smackdown.
Great play, and we start this set just like we began the other two with both teams close, tied 3-3.
Number 16, Jewel Paul, up for the serve. 3-3 game here. Up and over, but it is no good as it hits the net. Number 17 for George Brown, Joseph Lee getting ready for a serve as they are up by 1.43 game here. Joseph Lee ready. Too much power on that one as it hits the mesh. Trung Vaughn up to serve for the Colts. As he gets it over with the floater and set by George Brown for the spike. And that will be out of bounds on George Brown for Rowan Valenci. Point Centennial.
Just outside there.
Trung Vaughn up and over. Just hits the mesh there as Centennial has a net violation with the set, having his hands over the mesh there as we have a point for the George Brown Huskies.
Colts aren't happy about it, but it's a 5-5 game.
Smith ready to serve. Up and over, Centennial dig and set. Seems like he only caught a piece of that one with Nolan Tuck spiking that one down. 6-5 Centennial. Zinovic up for the serve, and that will be no good as he didn't get a piece of that one. 6-6.
We've seen a number of serves here hit the net in this third set.
A lot of downspin and power coming off these serves.
They're hard to return.
Pretty hard to get them over and to return as well as
Absolutely.
the George Brown Huskies serve it over, and that is set by Centennial for the spike down. Nolan Tuck, second try here as he gets it over and out, but it is out of bounds here. Point Huskies. Tyan Suzuki up to serve. Dug by Centennial for the set. Smacked down, but
defense.
blocked by the George Brown Huskies. Tyan Suzuki showing some consistency with the serves here, almost giving a little floater chip. Dug by Centennial. up and over, set by George Brown for the spike, tip shot. Centennial, George Brown for the set here, fake spike, but that is dug by Centennial, up and over, but that will be out of bounds. Great effort there.
Great rally
by number 3, Ryan Doe, but it just couldn't quite cut it as it is out of bounds. 9-6 Huskies.
Some chaos again there from the serve from Suzuki.
Yeah, not many rallies tonight. With Tyan Suzuki coming in for yet another serve. Floater over, dug there by Centennial for the spike. Blocked. Tyan Suzuki with the dig, and that is up and over. Set Centennial for the spike. Nolan Tuck as they set up for a second try here on the off wing. But that will be out of bounds. Point Huskies, 10-6 score in the third set here.
Both teams going at it. Score 10-6 Huskies.
Tyan Suzuki showing off his floater serve tonight. Seems to be working.
We've got a timeout here.
As we have another timeout by Centennial. The Huskies showing absolute dominance tonight in this one, looking for the 3-0 sweep.
Gives us a moment to catch our breath here, Mac. It's been an entertaining one.
Sure has been.
We won't be gone for too long, folks.
We'll be right back after this intermission. Once again, for any new joiners, I'm Matt Connolly, joined here by Lucas Acuna, getting ready for the second half of this third set here with a 10-6 lead from the George Brown Huskies.
It's been as entertaining as the entire game has been. It's been a real treat to watch as the energy in this arena is electric here in downtown Toronto.
Tyan Suzuki with the serve up and over. It seems to be a bit of trouble there on the floor as number 2, Jared Rodriguez slips on the court.
How effective has that serve been from Suzuki?
Showing consistency here, getting it up and over as he sets again for yet another serve.
And that one, nearly an ace there, but just out of bounds.
Bit too much power on that one as it drifts a bit to the right here as Nolan Tuck gets ready to serve here for the Centennial Colts. 11-7 score. Nolan Tuck up and over. Set by George Brown for the smackdown. No good as Declan Carmarin tries to get the smackdown as it hits the mesh there. 11-8 score. Nolan Tuck up and over.
Short.
Not too much power on that one there as it hits the mesh. Huskies ball. Number 6, Rowan Valenci, getting ready to serve here. Valenci up and over with some power, but it hits the mesh as the Centennial Colts get an easy point.
Both teams trying to make something happen off the serves, but we've seen a number of faults here.
Number 3, Ryan Doe, up for the serve. Serve is good, up and over, set by George Brown. Ready for the smackdown. Blocked by Centennial into the face of Ryan Doe. Point Huskies.
13-9 here.
Ruslan Delwar not on the court here for Centennial as Declan Carnarin gets ready for serve. Blocked by Centennial for the set, opposite side. Smack down! Out of bounds for Centennial as they look for the kill there.
That was a close one. 14-9 now Huskies.
Declan Carnarin ready for the serve here. It is up and over, but it is out of bounds, just short of the back left court here. Point Centennial, 14-10. Ruslan Doar coming in to serve.
If you're the Colts here, there's no reason to panic. You've played well.
Showing some power there. Dug in by George Brown, but cheeky little chip shot there by Centennial for the point. 14-11, trying to save every point they have to stay in this one. Ruslan Doar here for the serve. Some spin on it. Nice dig by George Brown. Set here by Centennial for the smackdown. Ruslan Doar.
Great defense.
Blocked by Joseph Lee. 15-11. Ruslan Doar showing some frustration after the block. Heavy spike there. And look who it is. Yurov Slavitsky up for the serve for George Brown. Up and over. Power on that one as Centennial digs for the set. Left side. Smackdown blocked. Set. Another second try blocked by George Brown as they corral it. Looking for the up and over here as Centennial blocks it. Set again for the second try. Chip shot. But we will have a violation here. Centennial point doing everything they can to stay in this one. 15-11.
What a third set this has been.
Number 16, Jewel Paul coming up to serve here. Looking to keep the game intact. Stoppage in play here as Jewel Paul gets ready to serve and start this one off. Up and over. That will be out of bounds. It seems the common theme tonight, Lucas, is easy points just going towards the George Brown Huskies here.
It's been some costly errors here. Of course, it's not out of bound or out of hand here yet, Mac. 16-12, the Colts can definitely come back from this, but you want to get things started sooner rather than later.
Joseph Lee ready for the serve, putting some spin on it. Dug in by Centennial for the set. Nolan Tuck with the smackdown.
Brilliant play.
3-point lead here in the third set. Centennial doing anything they can to stay alive in this one as number 11, Trung Vong, comes up for the serve. Up and over. Dug by George Brown for the easy point, and that is Yaroslav Verditsky coming over with the spike down, looking for the kill as Centennial corrals it. And Nolan Tuck coming in with the smackdown as George Brown could not contain it. Centennial coming to life here on the sidelines, doing everything they can to get behind their squad.
The Colts are hanging in there.
Trung Vaughn coming here for the serve, little floater over, dug by George Brown for the set. Trevitsky coming in there for the spike. Set by Centennial. Chip shot.
Great play.
Another point Centennial as this game tightens up. What a matchup we have tonight in this Saturday Classic between two OCAA colleges here as Trung Vaughn gears up to tie this game up here with this serve. Trung Vaughn up and over with the floater. Set by George Brown, looking for the spike. Zavitsky gets it in there. Absolutely dire play there by Centennial trying to keep the ball in, but fell short.
This third set could go either way. Both teams hanging in there.
17-15 George Brown Huskies here as number 11. Lucas Wang gears up as he gets into this one, the Toronto native, studying business administration and marketing. Lucas Wang with the serve, some spin on it, but that will be another costly out-of-bounds point off the serve.
We've seen a number of those here in this third set.
Really looking to tighten things up here off the serve as there are not many points to go around in this third set. Huskies with a 2-point lead, number 5, Milan Zinokovic, coming up for the serve. Up and over into the mesh. Another costly point from the Centennial Colts team tonight coming off of the serve.
Huskies are within 7 now, but the Colts right there.
Ty and Suzuki coming up, showing consistency tonight.
We've seen him do some damage off these serves.
Little floater serve coming in here, dug by Centennial for the set. Nolan Tuck with the fake.
Great defense.
Great defense. from Yaroslav Savitsky with the block, 19-16. Will we see the sweep tonight, Lucas? It's looking pretty close.
It's looking possible.
Tyne Suzuki with tons of confidence from the serve line here. Putting little floaters into play. Seems to be working as Centennial looks for the set and spike down. Looking for the kill.
So Huskies point.
Good. 20-16. George Brown Huskies taking over in this one. Looking for 5 points to get the win. Centennial calling a timeout, trying to do everything they can to stay in this one.
The amount of movement on Suzuki's serves just caused so much chaos. Even if you can get a hand to it, an arm to it, the amount of swivel, the amount of curve just complicates things so much. It's been such an effective weapon here for the Huskies.
You know, and Lucas, it seems like the common theme tonight is easy points, and that is something that Tyron Suzuki has done for his George Brown team.
Absolutely.
It's just getting the ball over the net and getting it in play, and
Absolutely.
trusting that his team has his back behind them if they get the ball back over in defense.
He knows that with that drop serve, with the movement on it, it's difficult to get a strong return on it for the Colts in just those 3 touches. It's caused havoc here, especially in this third set, and the score reflects it, 2016 Huskies.
You know, coming off of being a public school volleyball player myself back in the old days, you know, the spin serve, it's fun, but it's quite costly when it comes to easy points. Tyron Suzuki has been detrimental to the success of this Huskies team tonight. With consistency as well, Yurov Savitsky as the star of the show tonight, taking over. Tyne Suzuki coming in the serve here, looking for that 5 points to take the win. Dug by Centennial for the set, and a little chip shot by Centennial, but out of bounds. Another costly point for this Colt squad. 21-16 Huskies looking to take this one 3 games straight. Coming off a 1-3 record. Really not showing it here tonight, looking very, very good.
They've been dominant.
Out of bounds by Tyne Suzuki as the Huskies have a 4-point lead. Centennial looks to get back in this one. Nolan Tuck up for the serve and is up and over, corralled by George Brown for the smackdown.
Great defense.
Blocked by Centennial. Number 16, Jewel Paul, getting teammates being resuscitated on the sideline here. So much excitement in this building as Jewel Paul comes down with the block. Nolan Tuck up for the serve, corralled by George Brown. Up and over, set. Centennial coming in for the kill, number 11 with the smackdown. Coming alive in this one, 21-19, showing some heart.
They're not going away anytime soon, Mac.
As the Centennial Colts catch the kill. Nolan Tuck showing some consistency here on the serves. Up and over, corralled by George Brown for the set, coming in, blocked by Centennial, net violation. Easy points to go around. Trailing by 3 here. Those are costly, costly points.
Now, if you're the Colts, you can't worry about the next 3 sets. What's important is getting this set here. You're only down by 3 points.
Matthew Lau from Markham, Ontario coming in with the spin serve here. Showing some power. Centennial corrals it with the smackdown. Oh, saved by George Brown. Savitsky coming in for the smackdown, but it's corralled. Up and over. Tip shot. Centennial corrals for the 3rd attempt. Smackdown, no good! Into the mesh.
What a rally.
As the Huskies gain yet another mesh point. 23-19 Huskies.
Both teams giving it their all here, Mac.
Tight game in this one as the Huskies look for the sweep. Colts looking to stay alive in this one. Matthew Lau up for the spin serve with some power on it. Into the net. Mesh. 3-point lead, George Brown. Number 3, Ryan Doe coming up for the serve. He threw 3 easy points here to get back in this one tied up. Up and over. Dug by
a net violation
George
here, perhaps.
Brown.
Point for George Brown.
Yet another net violation for the Colts here tonight. As George Brown looks for match point to end the game here in this Saturday night matchup. 3 straight with the sweep. George Brown just oozing with confidence tonight, showing nothing but a lackluster effort. As number 4, Thomas Tucci gets checked in to serve here. Tucci corralling himself, getting ready to arguably get this match point here and end the game on a spin serve with some power. And that is out of bounds. 24-21.
That looks close to me, Mac.
Seems like Thomas Tucci wanted to end that one there himself.
Looking for the ace there. It was a close one. 24-21 Huskies.
Ruslan Dilwar needs to get this one over for a easy 3 points to tie this one back up to avoid the sweep, as I think there's a substitution going on here for George Brown. 24-21 in this one, as Ruslan Dilwar looks to tie things up here. Dilwar readying himself for the serve. Up and over. And that cannot be contained by the George Brown team as they go for the dig.
Beautiful ace there.
24-22.
Colts
Huskies.
stay alive here.
Colts cheering on their team on the sidelines, trying to gain some energy here as Ruslan Dilwar tries to come in clutch with the spin serve. And that is out of bounds. George Brown Huskies take it in this one, 3 straight in this Saturday night matchup, OCAA affair. Coming in 1-3 before this game and just absolutely dominating.
They looked like anything but a 1-3 team there, Mac. 3 straight sets, a comfortable victory in the end. Of course, we want to give our best wishes to Michael Karapi, number 10 on the Colts roster. We hope he can come back into action soon. It was a classic here, Mac.
100%, Lucas. I can't agree more. Lots of talent on display tonight. 3 stars tonight. I think the obvious star of the night here has to be Yaroslav Servitsky.
He was huge.
Coming off an impressive game, showing up with many kills, many spike downs, blocks in front of the net, and overall just showing a great effort here for this George Brown lineup. And the second star of the night, Joseph Lee, absolutely showing out for this George Brown squad. And coming over to the Centennial side of things, as they can't be forgotten, I got to say Nolan Tuck here, really caught my eye on the Centennial side, taking over things with the serves, showing a great presence at the front of the net. Anything you have to add, Lucas, coming off of tonight?
It's been a pleasure to be with you here, Mac. It was a great game, a great night. Take care, everybody.
Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Matt Conley, joined by Lucas Acuna, and we are signing off in this Saturday night affair between the Centennial Colts and George Brown Huskies, as the George Brown Huskies absolutely take this one over with 3 straight wins. 25-22 final set score. Thank you and have a good night.
Take care, everybody.